This game is played by adults, going over adult content. You've been warned. Welcome to Yes Please, the D&D podcast companion to Check Please. This podcast series takes place between episodes of the main Check Please series and goes into more detail and depth about specific people and events. The timeline for this episode takes place in canon right around episode 26 of the main series.
So the calendar mentions that the party is going to leave the town on the 4th of November in the morning. If the party makes for the south to the junction point where you're either going to go west to go to the Halfling Lands, the Merry Valley, or go south to the Steam Isle, it's like 48 days. So it's a 48-day journey south, and that's if you don't really stop.
We're definitely going to stop for sleep.
Well, yeah, no, that's accounting for stopping to sleep, but nothing else. Any adventures or side quests, or if you take days off at the town on the way, because there is one city on the road south.
God damn it.
Then it's going to take even longer.
She's going to buy shit.
Yeah, at the city? You're damn right. Because
and set up the McKinney Birdwing Travel Agency.
Oh, shit. The shade. It's so dark in here from all the shade you're throwing. Well, so what would a typical travel day be like on the road?
Okay, so usually when we travel, it's me and Vera up front, because we each have one of the horses. But we just got a brand new carriage, and I made sure to get a carriage with a special chest container built-in portion, because Karis needed that for Alpha.
Yeah.
So, what it used to be was just Marcus and Levette inside normally, and once in a while Archie would be open, either walking beside or flying beside. I don't really know how often he actually went inside the carriage, because it was quite tight inside there, as far as I remember.
The way I considered the carriage to be changed is I imagined your first wagon to be Pioneer-style covered wagon.
Yeah.
You know, with no frills. And the second one is more like a buggy. It's more like a carriage.
Yeah.
So it's actually
Which
got
is
like...
definitely right up Soul's alley.
Yeah, it's got like wooden walls, it's got doors, it's got like actual seats inside with upholstery. It's actually much nicer, and there's a big seat on the front that you and the driver can sit on, or the driver and, you know, whoever else.
We both drive.
Yeah. Can sit up in the front, and then there's places on the top to put boxes or chests, and I imagine that it's probably drawn by 4 animals instead of 2. Yeah. But it'll take you 15 days to get beyond Ville completely.
I'm guessing we've probably done a very average of travel, bicker, apologize, continue.
Yeah, that tracks. That meshes with reality.
So for the first couple of nights, Soul's like, I only need 4 hours. I'll do the watching. I'll meditate while we're driving. And everyone's like, yeah, sounds great. Maybe the 5th night, maybe 7th. Somewhere that's just been enough time where Soul's like, no one here understands me and I'm lonely. So, that night, I assume Vera's normally pretty okay with taking up chores and stuff, or duties for our group.
Yeah.
And Soul's still technically not actually upset with them. But they're trying to, still give them some tough love.
Okay.
Because you can't just go and try to kill people. And if you're not successful, then everyone finds out. You can't just get found out if you're going to actually have to do this. So I'm disappointed in you to make you not do those things, but I actually don't care that you tried to kill that person.
Well, I mean, as useful as that is to explain that to me, I'm not playing that character, so I can't do anything about that.
But I'm pretty sure Vera's avoiding Soul, like a little kid almost.
Oh, yeah? That's possible.
They've been a bee half the time, it's fine.
Yeah. At least till you get out of range of these wanted posters.
So Bear will be like, yeah, sure, whatever, probably. Take up the night watch.
Mm-hmm.
Soul's probably either sleeping in the carriage or found some way to make a little shelter for themselves. I don't know if it's an important thing that we own those or not, or if we can just say we have stuff like that. That's up to you, I guess, as the DM.
What specifically?
If we have tents and stuff, is that something that we
I
bought?
think any of you bought any, so I just assumed you were either going to be sleeping in the carriage, just on the seats, or on the ground around the carriage.
I feel like we used to sleep outside anyways.
Yeah.
Okay. The one night I'm resting, let me just have the carriage to myself, right?
Sure.
Probably the others would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so everybody else is a little bit upset, but they're like, whatever. So you're giving the carriage to yourself.
And so I'm sitting in there, and I'm kind of waiting for everyone to fall asleep, pretty much.
Alright, you can wait a few hours.
And then when I think the coast is clear, I whisper into my ring, grow.
Alright, you can hear the sound of tree frogs.
Are you on the roof again?
I come up here to clear my mind, sometimes.
Something wrong?
No, I was just wondering when I was going to hear from you again. It's been 5 days.
I know, but I can't leave every single night.
Well, I mean, even just to spare a hello.
I'm sorry. I'll try to be better the next few days, okay?
It's fine. I'm sure you've been very busy. The life of an adventurer isn't an easy one, I'm sure.
Soul kind of grimaces and is just like, have I been busy? Unsure is the mood. Well, I'm here now, and it's not my shift to watch the camp tonight.
So what do you propose you do?
I don't know. You're the one who's good at proposals.
Oh, I see. Someone's become more suave than usual.
Well, things are usually a little easier after the first time, you know?
Oh.
Any chance you would like to spend time at home today with me?
Where would you like to meet?
That's a good question, because I don't exactly know where I am. The soul peeks their head outside of the carriage, slowly opens the door and closes it, sneaks a couple of feet back, just enough to where the darkness horizon kind of cuts them off a little bit. Besides, they're all around a campfire, so their eyes would be terrible at adjusting currently if they did open them.
Yeah, I think they all have low light vision. Basically means their eyes see twice as far as humans in conditions of dim lighting.
Okay.
So they can all see fairly well, but they're also not paying attention to the carriage.
Yeah. So Soul walks far away enough. Yeah, all I can see is the fire. This should be fine. And then Soul kind of brings the ring back up. Can't you tell where I am?
Yes, but it's easier if there's a landmark or something nearby. Teleport spell can get a little unruly otherwise.
How close am I to the forest?
The forest is actually going to be relatively close to the southeast, so
Yeah.
it's possible that you guys pulled up near like a stand of trees or something to get a little bit of extra shade.
And the forest is called the Vale?
It's called the Great Vale.
The Great Vale.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So Soul's looking at these trees and is like, oh. I'm kind of near the western portion of the Great Vale.
Alright, well, I'll give it my best shot. Wish me luck.
Good luck.
Alright. You hear some sticks snapping nearby, and the sound of something dropping onto a bunch of leaves.
Oh no! Can I just use perception to figure out if it's Grow?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because as much as my instincts say, run for him, my smart self is like, what if it's a monster?
What if it's a monster? Alright.
I got a 30 on my perception.
18 plus 12, 30. So you turn and you can actually see what happened. You see what looks like a body fall out of a tree and land on the ground.
Oh no! Oh, my poor boy! Oh, Soul rushes to him immediately.
By the time you get over there, Grow's already picking himself back up and brushing dried leaves off of his clothes. He sort of has a semi-embarrassed smile on his face.
And Soul kind of comes over and they start just checking him over, making sure he's okay, checking his hands, his arms.
Aside from a couple of minor scratches, he seems alright. And he says, well, I told you the teleport spell can be a little unruly.
And Soul has like a worried expression and just starts touching his face and like, looking at it, and I can't heal this person and I'm upset. And
he puts his hands up and covers the backs of your hands and kind of pulls them down and says, It's okay. I'm in one piece.
Sorry. I'd hate for you to get hurt because of me.
It's quite all right. It's just a short drop out of a tree. I assure you I've had worse.
I mean, it's better than a weaver putting things in your mouth.
Ugh. You really had to fight those, did you?
Well, I guess. And like Soul's saying that through gritted teeth. Kind of still pissed off that they had to do that.
Did you ever explain to Grow that story? Did you ever tell Grow about that?
I don't think so. I think there's a lot that they
Okay.
probably still have to catch up on with
Gotcha.
what Soul's done and stuff.
Yeah.
I think Soul just vaguely was like, oh yeah, I killed a weaver once.
Oh, yeah.
Probably to show off at first, and now they're just like, I'm emotionally traumatized by this actual event, really.
You'll have to regale me in the story someday.
Soul kind of shivers. Okay, but it's really gross. But, can we go home together?
He chuckles. Of course.
And so, I know Soul normally is supposed to grab onto his hands, but they instead just jump up and hug him around the neck. And they think that's fine.
That is fine. Alright. He casts a teleport spell, and there is a rush of wind, and then you are surrounded by warm air, and the sound of tree frogs, as you once again find yourself standing beneath the gazebo in the garden of your parents' estate.
And Soul slowly lowers themselves, because they pretty much jumped up to hug him. Loosen their arms to slowly let themselves down. That was a lot faster than last time.
Well, I figured there wasn't much surprise this time around.
So why did you have me explain the courtyard then?
Because I wanted you to appear right where you wanted to.
Okay. And Soul blushes a little and, scratches the side of their face. They're not exactly sure what to do with themselves.
So you have the entire night ahead of you. What would you like to do?
So Soul's been wearing their gloves.
Yes.
And I know they kind of pretty much glomped Grow the minute he appeared. So, yeah, they kind of twirl under the gazebo again. It feels like a natural thing to do.
It's a twirly gazebo.
It's fun to look up and just look at the stars through the stained glass. And Soul turns to Grow and is, I don't know, what do you want to do? I'm just happy to be around you.
He has this giant smile from ear to ear, and he steps toward you. He puts one arm around your waist and one arm sort of behind your head, and kind of tilts your head up toward his, leans down, and kisses you on the mouth.
They're surprised, but they're pretty okay with it. They're still really awkward at kissing just because they're not used to that yet. I don't think Soul is very skilled at kissing yet, probably. And they stiffen up because they're like trying not to be a terrible kisser, but that kind of makes it worse. Their eyes are just closed a little too tight, and they're trying really, really hard. I don't think I'm very good at this. I'm sorry.
I think you're just fine.
And Soul kind of smiles and then like buries their head into his chest and kind of nuzzles.
He sort of spins you around under the gazebo.
If he does that, Soul puts their arm up and takes his left hand and does like a dancing pose. And they're gonna be leading, so they're gonna dance with him.
Alright.
I rolled a 30 on my dance.
Any music along with this? You wouldn't happen to have ghost sound memorized, would you?
I do not.
Okay.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Dancing lights will be going.
Okay.
And they're gonna kind of make them a little small and several multiple, so that it kind of looks more like fireflies and stuff. But like a little bit bigger to add more of a mood light. And so kind of just leading dances with Grow.
Right.
Because they don't really know how to dance with someone else. They're just learning how to dance for
That's
the first time anyways.
Grow will do his best to follow along, and hey, a nat 20. So even though he doesn't really have any skill points in it, you can tell he manages to get really lucky this time around.
And Soul just, I think, is just humming a tune, like if anything.
Yeah.
Like still moving, and they just kind of close their eyes and just kind of live in a moment for a while. And they're going to probably keep dancing until Grow stops them.
Okay. So we'll say the two of you dance then for probably 30 minutes or more. Because Grow he's just happy to have, physical contact with Soul after so long.
5 days.
5 days, yeah. It's an eternity.
It's too long.
It's an eternity for someone who's, drastically in love with a character.
So he stops after a while?
Yeah, after about 30 minutes, you can tell that his skill at dancing is nowhere close to yours. He's tripping a little bit on himself, but he's mostly doing all right.
And Soul kind of notices that and starts to slow down. And they've
He doesn't
kind of
know
had
the-
their eyes half open, but mostly closed.
He also doesn't know the dance steps like you do. He's mostly just trying to follow along.
Aw, sweet baby. Soul kind of stops and is like, sorry, I got into a mood, I guess?
Oh,
That's my bad.
it's all right. It's something I'm going to have to learn.
Probably gonna learn how to dance for the wedding.
His eyes kind of like light up and he flashes a new smile. Yes, I suppose I will.
And Soul kind of blushes and shuffles their feet, embarrassingly, but is smiling.
Were you wanting to talk about it at all?
I'd be fine with talking about it. Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I suppose my question would be when? He kind of shrugs slightly and says the traditional date would be the winter solstice.
And Soul crosses their arms and looks like they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
It would be pretty, but on the other hand, I don't know if I'm gonna have my information I need by then.
Oh, I see.
On the other hand, we could get married and I could just disappear for a while again and not do the ceremony.
Oh. We would have to explain it to your parents, otherwise they would get
Soul kind of like flinches.
fairly upset if we got married and then you disappeared before the appointing ceremony.
I know. It's more fun to just think of getting married.
I agree, but your mother's been a bit obsessed about passing on the duties.
Is she just bored, or why? Has she said anything?
No, she seems adamant that it needs to be done sooner than later, though. But I know as much about it as you do.
White traditions are bogus. You should just explain to people what's happening.
He nods.
And then they kind of tilt their head back and forth again. Their arms are still crossed. This is kind of their natural pose for thinking, but also, in a way, it's their childish pouting about their family.
So if the winter solstice is too soon, perhaps spring?
It sounds nice.
I think you would look lovely in a spring dress.
Sulk smiles and looks away because they're blushing. I don't even know what kind of dress to wear. Oh my god. Oh, it's been forever since I've worn a dress. Oh, I don't know. Mom always has long gowns that are velvety and they look so heavy. Ugh. I don't know. I feel like I was always rough and rugged. I don't think I was meant for dresses.
Gro's going to say that no matter what you wear or what you choose, I'm sure you'll look stunning in it.
Thank you. Will I even have time to choose? Oh my god, I gotta figure this out.
I mean, it's about 4 months away.
True. I just hope I can figure it out by then.
Anything I can do to help, you know. I'll be there for you.
First they look surprised, and then they have this really big smile, and their eyes kind of look like they're glittering. Thank you.
Why? We're in this together.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's nice for someone to want to do things for me. I don't know, I feel like I'm always doing things for other people, so it's just really refreshing.
He just gives you a smile.
Sorry for making you dance for too long. I got lost in a moment. It was really fun. I like dancing with you.
And you. I just think I'll need to take some lessons.
I don't know how to teach, so I'm not the best on that one, unfortunately. I'm a good learner. Don't get me wrong. Really good at learning.
Was this one of the many skills you learned when you went off to... He lets the end of his sentence hang.
I learned how to dance more from a centaur I met, actually. I hadn't really tried dancing. I liked the concept of it, but I didn't really get inspired to figure out how to dance until I saw her, and we actually played some music together. It was really cool. She had these bongo drums, but she was able to play what sounded like a lyre on it while I was playing on my lyre, and it sounded like drums. It was really cool.
I had no idea centaurs could dance.
It's something that is the coolest and most confusing thing I've ever seen. But, I mean, if she could dance, then why couldn't I? So, I've kind of been trying to teach myself in a way. I don't know if we just looked super stupid or not. I had my eyes closed half the time.
No. You were wonderful.
Thank you. This all kind of looks very, pleased as peaches with themselves. So, what else should we do tonight?
He kind of spreads his arms out to sort of gesture to the entire estate. It's your home. Like I said before, I'm here pretty much all the time.
So Sol looks concerned and then looks very bemused, and they look like they're debating on saying something.
He kind of cocks his head a little bit to the side. What is it?
Well, technically, it's our home, right?
He smiles even wider and steps closer to you. I suppose it is.
And I'd like to think that every time Sol is slightly suave, they get really embarrassed after they say something, where they're like, yeah, that was really good, and then they're like, I like have to look away and just be embarrassed. It'll be fun. Maybe don't look at the house that way. Look at it as our place, so every room's new and exciting every time you go into it. While I'm gone, come up with ideas like, oh, let's do this the next time I visit. Stuff like that. That way it won't seem so boring.
He nods.
And Sol looks around the courtyard, and they start to kind of fidget with their gloves. They've been on for, 5 days, but it's still, they feel different because they're used to not having things on their hands, so it's still a comfort thing they're getting used to. They're pretty sure they're almost desensitized to them. Think about it once in a while and be like, oh right, there are gloves on my hands.
You know those caused quite a stir.
Sol jolts up and looks at him. What?
Well, those gloves you're wearing, they caused quite a stir while you were gone.
Did I get you in trouble?
Me? Oh no. About 2 days ago, your mother, well, she sometimes goes through your old room.
Oh.
She noticed they were gone and berated a few of the servants for about a day. Luckily, no one lost a job or anything, so I think no harm was really done, but still, he shrugs. I suppose it shows that she cares, or at least pays attention to detail.
I know Mom cares. It's just, why is she going through my room? Ugh. Sol looks very childish and more offended that she just went in it to begin with. And they kind of shake their head and they're like, part of me wants to leave a note and be like, no one faults other than my own. But then I feel like that's going to get you in trouble, so...
I'm not sure if I'm in any danger like that.
You don't think so?
No. Strangely, they mostly just leave me alone.
Even my mom?
Yes, your parents don't really have much interest in speaking to me, usually.
That's weird. I feel like they couldn't help but talk to you all the time back then.
Yes, and then after you left, things did sour a bit.
What do you mean?
I think well, I'm not certain. I mean, I have suspicions, but I feel like on some level they blamed me.
They should blame themselves. Sol is going full pouty kid mode, pretty much. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with them.
Well, I don't think they quite see it that way.
And Sol's kind of getting more flustered. I'd like to think they're kind of puffing up a bit. How dare they insult you? Like, this all has to do all with them. God! And they're kind of at a point where they just look frazzled and they're just making noises of anger instead of actually making coherent sentences. Just pouting under a gazebo.
Bro kind of steps closer and wraps his arms around you in a nice hug. It'll be alright.
They shouldn't blame you, though.
Well, it does keep me out of a few awkward conversations, at least.
What do you mean?
Well, it's just... I do a lot of covering up for you, I think.
But what are the awkward conversations?
They ask me how you're doing in classes, what you're studying, how your marks are, things like that. So, like I said, the fact that they're not quite as interested to speak with me is probably a blessing.
And Sol finally gets their arms down from their crossed over position that they've been pouting in. I kind of put one hand on his cheek. I'm so sorry about them, about all this.
Don't be. What's important is that, well, we finally have each other.
Yeah. Sol, reaches up to hug him, I think they like going on their tiptoes and, hugging him around his neck.
He returns the hug and lifts you off the ground a few inches.
And Sol kind of loosens up a bit and just kind of looks at him for a bit. So, should I leave a note for Mom? Do you think that would be better?
I feel like, well, she would be interested to know that you care enough to speak with her, I suppose. She's a bit annoyed, to be honest, that you haven't sent anything to well, her or your father.
Soul kind of grimaces at father, the thought of their father. Yeah, I can leave a letter. They know you're in contact, right?
Not exactly.
Soul tilts their head.
Well, I didn't know if you were ready to tell them that you were done with your trip, you know? I didn't want to let your secret go. Was that selfish of me?
No, I actually really appreciate that. I just feel bad for you.
Don't. I still consider myself the luckiest person around.
Doesn't mean I can't worry about you.
There's nothing to worry about. I graduated top of my class.
Soul raises their eyebrows like, are you trying to mock me, you little bitch? Yes, well, I was good at magic too.
That's true. A year ago.
Yeah, well...
A bit more than a year now, actually.
Mm.
About 14 months or so?
Mm.
I'm not saying you're rusty, I'm saying that you're
He's just rubbing it in.
your skill set has changed slightly. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't...
Soul unhooks their lyre and angrily strums on it while glaring at it.
He laughs.
They're just pouting. They kind of look a little sneaky. Their face shows like a bunch of mischief.
Mm-hmm.
And then they cast invisibility on themselves.
Very funny. Grow looks around.
And Soul, once they're able to get at a good position where he hasn't moved too much, they're gonna, as fast as possible without completely decimating their faces, reach up to his face and pull him down to give him a kiss. And then they run away a bit again.
Okay. Now, actually kissing him would technically end the spell.
Yeah, they still run away.
Oh, okay. So you pull him down and kiss him, which causes you to become visible again. You turn heel and run off into the garden. He gives chase, laughing.
So, in the garden, I don't exactly imagine like a hedge major, a hedge mage?
A hedge major. A major hedge. I like it. It's a military
rank
rank now.
maze.
Okay.
There's enough of pathways and sculptural pieces to where Soul's trying to like hide in them enough. They both have low light vision anyways, so they're trying to stay far enough away to where they can stay hidden enough.
Okay.
And then once they're far enough away, they're gonna cast invisibility again.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and get a skill check here for Grow. He is able to keep up with you enough, and then he passes a perception check, so he sees sort of where you were when you cast the spell. So he gets up to probably within 10 feet of you, but you're already invisible. He has his arms out to his side, and he's kind of waving them back and forth, trying to feel the air. He's smiling and crouched down slightly.
I attempted to stealth, but I only got an 18. Okay,
he's going to do a perception check against your stealth, and invisibility is a plus 20 modifier.
Ah.
So you got a 38 to his perception check, which was not nearly that high. So you are able to sneak up on him again.
Okay. So Soul's going around this time, and to go behind him, and then just hugs him from behind. And just kind of stays there.
He mockingly feigns an injury from the rear. And collapses to the ground.
What? I didn't even hurt you!
I'm dead. Shh.
Oh, yeah?
He keeps his eyes closed and just nods, smiling.
So Soul kind of crouches down, kind of mirroring their younger picture that I have of them. That kind of frog pose-ish.
Yeah.
Crouch down next to him, and then they start pushing aside. You sure you're dead? And they start just poking him all across the side.
He's doing his best to resist making any response to your movements, but you can tell that he's starting to crack slightly and laugh a bit.
Okay, Soul's gonna stop, and then they like crouch down even farther until their faces are right next to his. You sure you're dead? Because I can just, go if you're too busy being dead. They kind of make enough air come out of their mouth so it's obvious they're right in front of him. He
squints open one eye, like cracks open an eye to look up at you. He's gonna kind of hold that position for a few seconds.
So Soul is gonna keep just getting closer. Each closer is just like, you sure? Positive?
He's going to wait until you are very, very close before he's going to reach out and grab you by the sides and pull you close to him on the ground.
And then Soul kisses him.
Kisses returned. He sort of pulls you over and rolls around a bit in the garden.
You're gonna be so dirty. And then Soul is instinctively just starts to say, Mom's gonna be so mad at me when my dress gets dirty. Come on, grow! They kind of pause and like, right, I'm not in a dress. Sorry.
It's alright. The more things change, you know?
But maybe some things have been for the better.
He gives you an up and down look at you. Yes, I think they have.
Soul squints their eyes at him and is like, they start getting flustered. What was that supposed to mean?
It just means that you've, well, bloomed.
I don't think I've ever been referred to that way.
I was taking some poetic license. I meant no disrespect.
No, it's okay. I'm just embarrassed. Gritting their teeth, barely able to get it out because they're so flustered. Since Gro was rolling them around for a while, what position did they end up in anyways?
I imagine that you're sort of laying on your sides on the ground, looking at each other.
Okay. So Soul, like, in embarrassment, just, like, buries their face in his chest just to, like, not look at someone and deal with their own process.
The arm that's toward the ground, he gets it sort of behind you and cradles the back of your head while you do that.
It's not fair how embarrassed you make me feel.
He gives you a light kiss on the top of the head and says, well, you make me feel ways as well, you know.
I make you feel embarrassed?
Well, not embarrassed exactly.
The head tilting happens.
Anxious, worried.
Soul looks concerned.
You know, well, when we're apart, I feel like half a person sometimes.
And Soul kind of grabby with his clothing and kind of pull him closer. I'm so sorry.
Don't ever apologize. It's fine. Like I said, we're together now, and that's what's important.
True. It's nice when it's warmer here. I guess I didn't realize how cold it actually was until we came back a couple of days ago.
I told you it was cold there.
I got used to it. I mean, pretty soon I'll have to find winter clothing. I can't be in my ripped up dress forever.
It's true. I'm surprised you haven't done this earlier.
Ripped up a dress or gotten winter clothes?
Gotten winter clothes. The climate out there, it's inhospitable. I have no idea how all those humans manage it.
Oh, I think they're hot-blooded. I feel like they're really warm creatures for some reason. That's what I've gotten from my studies.
Interesting. Well, I suppose they need it when it gets that cold.
Maybe that's why they die so fast. All their energy is just built up to retain heat.
Sounds like a somewhat pathetic creature, you know?
But they're sweet. I mean, it's not like they're a gnome.
Having issues with gnomes, are we?
Only one. The only one I've met.
He touches the front of him where he was shot with a crossbow bolt.
Ugh.
Yeah, your friend certainly left an impression.
So Soul's gonna look at him for a second. They have kind of calculated look, and then they're gonna lean over and pull his clothing up a little bit to look at where it was.
There's really not much of a scar.
They're gonna kiss the area.
Gro sort of leans in and kisses the top of your head as you're kissing his chest.
Does that make it better?
All better. He tilts your face up toward his and leans in for a much longer, much slower kiss.
Soul's into it. I feel like they tried to be forward a little bit more with this kiss and then got embarrassed and stiffened up again. I'm so close to figuring out how to kiss people.
When Gro senses you stiffen up, he sort of takes his arm that's not pinned to the ground and he runs it down the length of your body, down your side.
They kind of stiffen, but now they just look flustered now. And they cling into themselves a little bit. Sorry.
What's
I'm
wrong?
trying.
Is it something I can help with?
I don't know how to be a good kisser. I don't know how to learn that. I can learn how to dance, but I can't seem to figure this out. And they just put their hand on their face and they're just like, ugh.
He touches his nose to your nose and says, I think you may just need more practice.
Oh, that red face. It goes to the ears.
Speaking of, that is now what he is going to focus his attention on.
Oh, great.
and begin a light nibble.
Ugh. So at first, Soul's still a fucking bored. There's like an inch where every few moments there's a slight relax and then it tenses up again with their body. And when they're able to relax a little bit, they grab at Gro's clothing. But they're right next to each other, so there's nothing to really pull for, but for some reason they're still trying.
Yeah.
And they let out the quietest little, like, moan as they possibly can control.
Gro moves down from your ear and lightly kisses you down your neck, and then moves you a little bit more to where you're on your back, and starts to undo your shirt-skirt combo.
My makeshift clothing.
Yeah. Boy, maybe I should get you something with less buckles.
It keeps everything together. I don't have to worry about stuff falling off.
I suppose that's important in the midst of a battle, then.
And Soul gives a definite nod, very proud of themselves for their stupid craftsmanship.
Gro laughs. Yes, you're definitely the more seasoned adventurer than I am.
Well, maybe eventually we can adventure together.
One of his eyebrows goes up. Oh, really?
If my plan works, then it wouldn't matter if we left to go on into places together.
I suppose it wouldn't. He finishes undoing the buckles and sort of gently guides the clothing off.
Are we really doing this out here?
There's no one around. And like you said, the weather's perfect. Besides,
True.
he kind of like gives you a sideways glance. It is our house after all.
Oh! Soul covers their face and is kind of giggling. They don't know what to do with themselves anymore.
And fade to black.
And Soul's just incapacitated a little bit. Just like, whoa.
Sorry, I didn't hurt you, did I?
No, I feel great. They just look worn out. That was nice.
Glad you enjoyed it. I never tried that before. I hope it went alright.
Really? Wait, I mean, I shouldn't ask that. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. And they just hide their face in their hands again. It's like, I'm gonna stop talking forever. And ever, and ever, and ever. Like, open up an opening in their fingers, look through it again at Gro.
He's moved up, like, slightly, and he's sort of laying next to you, smiling.
It was very nice, thank you.
Very glad you enjoyed it.
They blush and they attempt to turn away, but there's not really any area to turn away at this point. And closes the finger for putting their hands over their faces, just like, I'll just exist like this. I'm a turtle now. Soul says that out loud.
Gro just laughs. You really don't need to be quite so embarrassed around me, you know.
Oh, I'm well aware I don't have to be embarrassed around you. I just am.
The way I see it, we're going to have plenty of opportunity for this.
And in time, I'll get more used to it. It's just new and exciting and embarrassing for me.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Their, like, hands kind of come down because their brain switched to contemplation mode pretty much. Soul's on the several gears of embarrassed. That's all that they can do, is ask, like, an actual question where they have to think. It's like, and embarrassment over. They're actually considering things. It's just like an on and off switch. Just with several different settings. Well, I don't know how to not be embarrassed about things. It just feels natural, I guess. It's just how I feel, so I don't really know how to shut that off.
Sure, I didn't know if there's anything I could do to help.
And Soul looks over at him and, like, mews it over in their head, and they're just like, honestly, just the more time around you, I'll get used to it. I'm just nervous because I'm not used to it. So once I am, I'll be less nervous. That's at least the only thing I can think of.
He gives you a genuine smile. I genuinely look forward to that.
But for now, you're gonna have to deal with embarrassed Soul.
He kind of gives you a half shrug. Then I guess I'll deal with it.
Soul looks a little pleased with the response. That's a good boy right there. How sweet. So, I'm now Bear out here in my own garden. What do we do now?
Well, I think it's fitting. You are, in fact, the most beautiful flower in the garden.
And Soul doesn't even look embarrassed this time. They scrunch their face up and squint their eyes, and they're just like, that was so cheesy.
He shrugs. I know.
You're prettier than me anyways.
He scoffs.
Soul reaches over and ruffles his hair. You have silver hair. What a unique color. And the roots come in black. It's so unique and interesting, and when the moon shines on it, it's Moonbeam itself.
He moves to kiss you on the mouth again.
Soul is trying to overcome their nervousness, so they go for the kiss first as they see him coming.
Mm-hmm.
They probably bonk his nose.
He kind of scrunches his face slightly from the bonk. It's alright.
That was my bad.
It's quite alright.
I was just trying to beat you to it.
I think you did well.
Other than the nose portion. Don't think noses are meant to exist.
Oh, really?
Yep. They just get in the way. And Soul just looks like they're having a good time.
Grows just seems content to sort of just stare into your eyes.
Mm-hmm. Aye.
Well, I imagine you had both. Like, one freshly cured.
Yeah.
But
I think they have their blindfold down.
If it was down, then he stares into your
Yeah.
eye then. I had an idea, you know.
An idea?
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about, well, your eye since the last time I saw you. And I know you said
a long time ago. They giggle.
Well, I know you mentioned the way it felt, and
yeah.
I don't want you to have to feel that way anymore. So I'm looking into an alternative.
What do you got? And like Soul lifts up a little and kind of starting to lean on their hand elbow against the ground.
Well, I'm thinking of enchanting an item for you.
Item?
Mm-hmm. To do a bit of artificing work. Maybe create an artificial eye for you.
So, it's an artificial eye?
He nods. Yes, it would be made of probably a glass orb. I would lay enchantments in it, and it would carry some spells, perhaps. I mean, I haven't worked the details out yet of what exactly it would take as far as shape and look, but I could probably make it take on whatever visual form you'd want. Whether you just wanted it to blend in with how your other eye looks, or if you wanted it to be something else. It should be a simple matter, and I also imagine it wouldn't, I'm certain it wouldn't feel the same way as the current one.
No toads?
No toads.
I'll try anything to get the cold away.
I'm so sorry that you have to put up with this.
It was my stupid decision of accepting help from a necromancer.
I mean, there's a reason why they're not allowed to practice at most schools.
She's very sweet, though.
She sounds dangerous.
Everyone sounds dangerous to you if it's not you with me.
Well, the one friend of yours tried to kill me. The other friend of yours sounds like a lunatic.
Yeah.
And your other friend is wanted for attempted murder, apparently.
Yeah, that all sounds right.
Between them and the necromancer, yes, I am somewhat worried about your safety.
Well, at least all my friends make me look real good.
He laughs. Yeah, I suppose by comparison, then again, there's no comparison, he says as he sort of leans back again and sort of takes you in from head to toe.
Soul looks away embarrassed because they don't know what to do with themselves when they're getting looked at. It's embarrassing. I'm just sunbeam and a cloudy day for them. Soul's starting to fidget. They're back to being nervous and awkward.
Gro moves in for a tender hug.
And Soul snuggles in.
Gro goes ahead and starts to run one of his hands through the longer side of your hair, slowly kind of giving you head pats.
Mm-hmm. You never said anything about my hair, even when you saw it a little shorter.
Well, I mean, imagined you changed it because of the way you felt. I didn't think it was my place to say one way or the other.
Did you like it?
I think it suits you.
So, it's kind of growing out currently.
He nods. Mm-hmm.
I think I'll just let it go for a bit so that it's easier to style for the wedding.
I think I'd like that.
No promises on how even it'll be, but I'll try.
Well, give it enough time.
Soul looks at the longer side. This, however, is getting a little long.
Well, maybe you can let it grow out and it'll even up again.
So what if all of my hair was short?
You can feel him wince slightly. Then that would be your decision.
Huh. Not even gonna say what you prefer, huh? And Soul flicks him playfully.
I mean, you realize the society you came from. I don't think it would be my place to tell you one way or the other, unless you were directly asking my opinion.
I am directly asking your opinion, Gro.
I think you're very beautiful with longer hair.
And so Soul lifts their head, and they kiss him on the cheek, lean back a little. So what other things do you prefer? As a direct question from me to you.
They
raise their eyebrows.
I think you look stunning in a dress.
Okay. And why is that?
Because the way it flows, I think it makes you look very nice.
Okay. Good for thought. I mean, notably, you met me in a dress. So.
That's true. I suppose there's some nostalgia there. But I also think that I think it accentuates your figure a bit better.
I don't know. Kind of comfy being in a little baggier shirt. Held together only by belts.
Your abomination belt shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, it's not my place to tell you how to dress or how to style your hair.
Oh, I know. I'm well aware. I'm just curious to hear your thoughts, I guess. I mean, an engagement in itself is a partnership, even though marriage is. In a way, I just would like to hear more of your opinions.
He gives you a smile. Thank you. Is there anything about me you would prefer?
Soul thinks on it. Well, honestly, you dress really nicely. And I know that'll probably change to even nicer clothing once we're married, because you'll get all the outfits, probably. But, nah, you look perfect to me.
He moves in and hugs you tightly.
What did I say?
You're just so perfect.
I'm just, embarrassed. I'm just me. Slightly dirty me, now that we've rolled around on the garden floor.
Sorry.
It was bound to happen. I always got dirty around you.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Soul thinks on it.
Shall I bathe you, mistress?
They look fascinated by the comment at first, and then the sparkle in their eye kind of diminishes at the word mistress.
Well, would that have been the honorific that the servants used on?
Yeah.
He was trying to match that.
Yeah, it would have been. They just really hate it. I mean, if you would like to. I'm not going to say no.
Is there something wrong?
And Soul has their mouth kind of open a little, like they want to say something, but they're nervous to say it.
If there's something on your mind, I want to hear it.
So Soul kind of looks away. I just don't feel like the word mistress fits me. I don't really feel like she or her fits me either. Soul kind of glances back at him to see his reaction.
He looks semi-stunned. I see. Okay. I think I understand.
Soul's ears kind of perk up. So, I like using they and them pronouns.
I understand. And I accept that. And I want you to know that what's important is that we're together.
And you're okay with that?
He sort of thinks for a second as if he's making a decision. Yes.
And Soul looks like another weight was lifted off their chest pretty much. And they were leaning on their arm and stuff earlier to talk to him. And now they just let themselves lay back on the ground. And they have their head lifted up and they just have a huge sigh of relief.
You get the feeling that he's devoting some mental energy to something else right now. There's just part of his brain is calculating something. So is there anything else you wanted to do tonight?
Oh, the bath sounds lovely, actually. But is there something on your mind at all?
No, just a thought. Don't trouble yourself with it. I think it'll be a surprise for you.
And Soul, has the glare look where it's like, I'm suspicious of you. Well, do you not want to do the bath anymore then? Because we can...
Oh, no, we can certainly... I would be happy to bathe you, master. He sort of says questioningly at the end.
And Soul looks very delighted.
He's happy to see that you're happy about it. He stands up and reaches a hand down to help you up the ground.
Yeah, Soul grabs it And then after they're up, they look down at all their clothes on the ground and just shakes their head.
Grow picks up most of it, or at least assists you in picking it up.
You think it's okay for me to just walk through the house like this? Or should I put stuff on before we go in?
He shrugs and says, it's the middle of the night, and I think the view is quite lovely.
So, like, lightly punches him.
He accepts the punch and kind of turns it into a hug and a deep kiss.
Not fair. You win with all your height and your strength and stuff. And then Soul finishes picking up the last piece of their clothing. And they're pretty much giving it to them as much as possible to, like, hide up their parts. But it's not happening very easily. And they start heading towards the courtyard entrance room, pretty much.
Alright. Grow follows behind closely.
And they get into the room.
Mm-hmm.
And Soul, once they get in, they start thinking which bath is the best one to use. And then they look at Grow because they feel like he knows better at this point.
Grow kind of knowingly nods and leads you to one of the bathrooms.
Alright, time to describe a bathroom.
Mm-hmm. So, the flooring is marbled, like most of the flooring in the home. It is a black and white with also sort of a pink rose color in the marble.
I like it.
The tubs themselves are actually hewn from solid pieces of some sort of soft stone, and they have some form of piping rigged under them to heat the water that sits in each tub. That's has enough like herbs and additives in it that the water is sort of a milky white.
Oh, and I got an idea.
Okay.
So, on the bottom floor of the tub, since it is a milky white, you can't really see it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's this mossy plant of some sort on the bottom that just kind of naturally grows there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes being in it very soft and comfortable when you're like sitting in there.
Yeah.
There's what looks like a waterfall going into it, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And another portion where you can hit a button and it has it so that water comes down from the ceiling and it kind of feels like rain.
Okay.
It's like way too luxurious.
Yeah.
And of course there's an assortment of soaps and such to be cleaned from to the nines, pretty much.
Yeah.
Everything has like a specialty to it, pretty much.
So, Grow, in an effort to keep his clothing from getting completely soaked, also strips down to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And he gathers a bunch of the cleaning supplies, cloths and soaps, different salves, natural sponges.
Mm-hmm. Soul's going over to the water to test the heat.
Mm-hmm. It's perfect.
They, instead of gracefully walking in, they just go down on their stomach and then just kind of roll into the water. Because I figure there's like a roundish square rim around it.
Yeah. That
you can just kind of either sit on. Most people sit on it. Soul just kind of fucking rolls into the bath this way.
Yeah.
Like a 3-year-old.
Grow laughs.
They're already sitting.
Grow moves up to the side of the bath and starts attending to your outer extremities first, like your arms that are still exposed.
Soul probably turned over in the bath so that it's easier for him get to them, as well as so they can face him and look at him.
He slowly works different oils into your skin and then rubs them in and then wipes the excess off with various sponges.
Mm-hmm. I think at first Soul was kind of embarrassed, but now they're just watching his eyes, seeing where he's looking.
Well, he's taking you all in, as he has been this whole time. And when he sees you looking at him, he kind of looks up and says, "Is Master enjoying their bath?"
Oh, don't even. And then Soul splashes him. I do not need to be constantly called a master.
He laughs.
I'm just Soul and you're just Grow and everything's fine.
Very well. Very well.
And they go back to more relaxed pose again, like watching him work along their body pretty much. They start to look a little devilish again. They're kind of like waiting so that one arm is free.
Mm-hmm.
They just, as much water as possible, whip onto him.
He kind of stops what he's doing, blinks a few times to get the water out of his eyes, and kind of gives you sort of a deadpan stare. Which eventually cracks into a big smile, and he jumps into the bath with you.
And Soul defends their face from the water that gets splashed up.
He moves into the water and begins to tickle you furiously.
Soul attempts to kick away, but is wary enough about certain areas. No!
The tickles eventually turn to more hugs and eventual caresses.
I thought you were washing me.
Well, it seemed like you were trying to wash me.
And Soul looks away. They've got a smile on their face, because they're being pretty much a brat. Well, I mean, there's no recording of it, so your word's as good as mine, I suppose, but mine's, you know, I'm gonna outrule you on this one and say, I don't know what you're talking about. They stick out their tongue.
Gro moves forward and kisses it.
Tongue instantly back in their mouth, and they just look flustered. You know, I would get the best exercise if we just spend time with each other every night.
I would like nothing better. He moves himself up to sort of sit next to you in the bath.
So Soul leans their head over on his shoulder then if they're sitting side by side. And they just kind of close their eyes. There are no baths like these.
Not made by humans, at least.
No, they all have terrible baths. It's the worst experience of bathing ever.
I don't know how you managed to rough it for so long.
Soul punches him. I get it. I'm not the most well prepared for things that don't involve. And then Soul just makes a big gesture to like refer to the entire house.
Servants,
all of this.
Opulent wealth.
The wealth part doesn't matter to me.
Being the center of attention?
And then Soul like hug themselves a little bit. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you pull it off well either way.
And then they look around as if someone would be listening in, even though no one is. And then they look over to Gro. So maybe I do like being the center of attention.
And that's completely fine. Like I said, you pull it off well.
I don't know. It was normal once. I mean, everything I did seemed like it was the best thing ever to everyone. So, I don't know. I just came to expect it over time. Is that wrong of me?
No. You simply lived the life that you had. There's no shame in that.
I suppose. It makes me feel bad when I think of other people's childhoods, though.
True.
Like, nervously glance at him.
Well, it's true. I didn't know anything quite like this as a child, but I'd like to think that I worked very hard to achieve this.
And Soul takes a deep breath in and I'm really glad you did.
He has another large grin on his face. He moves in and kisses your neck. You are so incredibly beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
He kind of gets a sly smile on his face and holds it for a few seconds as he stares at you.
And we fade to black.
Bathrooms are normally echoey.
That's true. They are normally echoey. Luckily, the rain dampens most of the sound.
That's good. After that, Soul reaches over and hits to turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of leaned against him and their heads in the nook of his neck area.
Yeah. So he's sort of just like holding you to him now. Both of his arms wrapped around your back.
And Soul leans back and their arms are wrapped around his neck and stuff, and they're just kind of looking at him. So I've never had a bath like this before.
I hope you found it pleasurable, Master.
Soul splashes water at him.
Yes. Yes, I think I'll have a surprise for you next time we meet.
They raise their eyebrows.
Well, if you give me a few days at least, I suppose.
A few days? Are you gonna be able to survive without me for a few days?
Honestly, I don't know.
I promise I'll call more often.
Good. He touches his nose to yours.
Soul does an Eskimo kiss. They still have their hands behind Gro's neck.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of just lean back until, like, most of their hair is in the water. The upper part of their head is covered in water, pretty much.
Yep.
Which just lets their hair flow out. And it looks really pretty, because it's at least one side's fairly long.
I was going to say on the one side, it sort of, like, sprays out.
Yeah.
The other side, not so much.
Not so much, just a little bit. Very bit roughage there.
Yeah.
And I just kind of sit like that for a while, enjoying the water. Because water is fun. Yes. I enjoy water. Mm-hmm. And then they, like, go back up, and their hair, because they have so much fucking hair on one side, is so heavy when it's wet. And so they, like, kind of try to move it over so it's resting on their... What arm is this? Their left shoulder. So it's curled around to the side that's doesn't usually have the most hair. But it's just pretty much just so not all weight is on one side of their neck like it normally is. Yeah. Especially now that it's heavier. And they just look back at Grow. So, did I do that thing right?
He kind of, like, looks at you and then sort of, like, looks down, like, under the water and looks back up at you, and he's like, that thing?
Soul looks away, embarrassed. Yes?
I think you did an amazing job.
I just have to ask.
I'm not sure that attempting that underwater was the best idea, but I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Well, I wanted to surprise you.
You surprise me every day.
Every day?
Well, every day I talk to you, so maybe every 5 days.
Okay. And Soul leans forward and just, like, rests their forehead against his and just looks at him in the eyes. So we have probably until early morning to spend time with each other.
He has a widening smile on his face. And what do you have in mind until early morning?
All my time is yours.
He pulls you in for another kiss.
So I think the more Soul is getting used to kissing Grow,
mm-hmm.
I think they start to, like, cup his chin with their hands.
Mm-hmm.
At least if they're able to. When they reciprocate kisses and stuff.
Yeah.
They're slowly becoming more comfortable with this relationship. Well, the sexual part of it, at least.
Yeah.
Romantic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, they're still in the bath currently.
Yeah, it's still kissing currently.
So, Soul kind of leans away, especially because they're going to need air at some fucking point.
Mm-hmm. Eventually, yeah. After 84 seconds.
84 seconds. That's my birthday number. This is my birth number.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm dad old. I'm 84 seconds old. Soul leans back and, like, looks at him.
Mm-hmm.
And just tilts their head and smiles and just goes, so we should probably actually finish the bath portion because I think my skin's getting pruny.
Oh, my apologies, Master. Let me get right on that. And he, like, stands up slightly and you sort of fall back in the water.
And Soul just lets themselves be underwater for a little bit to out. He fucking dropped me. That bitch. And so they slowly come up and, like, their hair's kind of, like, over their face. They swoop one arm underneath the curtain of hair and whip it back. And just glare at him.
By the time you've resurfaced, he has gathered all of the cleaning supplies again and is ready to continue the process.
Pouting, but accepts it.
Okay. He continues scrubbing you down and applying oils. The combination of the warm water plus the texture of the sponge feels extremely elegant across your skin.
Also looks like they're enjoying themselves. I think instinctively they start just kind of splash the water. Not, like, forcefully or anything, it's just that little, like, piddle-paddle that you can just do at the surface. I think their eyes are closed and they're just kind of instinctively doing it in their brain. They have a tune, and so it's their drum beat currently.
Mm-hmm.
I think they just kind of start to sing, which is a 29!
Nice. You sing a lovely bath song.
They're just enjoying themselves. And then after a while, is that all of it?
Well, unless you have other limbs I don't know about, I think I've got you cleaned.
Oh, I'm a turtle now, so I actually have a shell, and you're gonna have to make sure you get in between each little, like, segment. So.
I had no idea. Let me assist you with that. He lifts you slightly out of the water, turns you around, and sort of places you to where your arms are up on the edge of the bath and your back is exposed out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to rub you across the back as he, like, mentions how he has to get your shell spotless as he rubs and massages your back.
And Soul's out. A complete melt. they've only got balance on one arm, and they're pretty much dropping a little bit off the side. Their head's kind of hanging a little bit, and they're just like, oh, yeah,
Oh, Master, you look like you've lost a bit of your balance. Are you alright? He says, not slowing down or stopping massaging your back at all.
Soul's trying to reach back with one arm they're not balancing on to splash at him. But they're not doing a very good job at it. Not fair.
And fade to black.
I would like to continue somewhere else. And they pull out their hands from the water. This isn't good for our skin.
He laughs.
And Soul leans back. And they just look like really tired. But more of a worn out sense of tired than a sleepy tired. They turn around and look at him. They kind of glare a little, and then they splash a little water at him, and then they stand up to get out of the bath.
Gro
so
follows
they start. Yeah.
and administers the towels, patting you dry.
Soul tries to reciprocate.
A moment later, you are both relatively dry, but still standing there, and he kind of says, so, where did you want to go next?
Well, I didn't know if you had any other secret rooms I didn't know about. Otherwise, we can always go there, or if there's a different room you prefer.
The place doesn't matter, it's the company.
So Soul cross their arms, and they look like they're looking everywhere other than him, but that's only because they're embarrassed.
I do hope you know how adorable you look when you pout like that.
I am not pouting.
Oh, of course, Master. He bows with a flourish. Perish the thought.
Punch to the gut. Swing! I ought to do something that makes you embarrassed.
Whatever you'd like.
Get. They don't know actually what to do. Do I want to do that? Let me read that real quick.
Sure thing.
I'm gonna try mirror image on him.
Okay. You cast mirror image. I need you to roll a d4 plus 1.
Okay.
Okay. Wow. There are now 6 of you that are sort of shimmering and shifting around each other.
And so Soul leans forward and is just like, so, how about this?
Gro looks semi-confused about which one of you to reciprocate with.
Soul's slowly having, like, everyone kind of walk around in a circle. And the smirk is so intense.
I think I'm somewhat outnumbered now.
You might be.
He's going to reach for one to try to grab one of them, so what I'm going to do is, since you have 6, I'm going to roll a d6. Actually, I'd rather you roll a d6 so you can see. We'll say a 6 is you. Oh, shit. Well, that fails that, doesn't it?
Yep.
Aw, what bad luck. Well, good luck for him, I guess. Bad luck for you.
Yeah.
He somehow manages to, with pure luck, grab the real you, causing the others to wink out of existence. He looks at you. Well, lucky guess, I suppose, and kisses you on the mouth.
Soul's kind of pouting. This trick was supposed to be a bit more fun.
It was very fun. I'm kind of pissed that you rolled a 6.
I didn't mean to. It's just where it landed.
Damn you, dice. You're everyone's enemy.
So they kind of pout at Gro and, well, I'm sure that'll work next time.
I look forward to it.
And they stick out their tongue.
He kisses it again.
They just get frazzled.
If you don't want me to kiss it, don't present it to me.
I will do whatever I want.
I would think nothing else.
And then they not exactly pound on his chest with their fists, but it's like a little gentle bang bang against him.
He puts his arms around you. Actually, his hands are probably resting like the small of your back. And he kind of pulls you closer to himself.
Oh, you are devil in disguise.
He gives you a sly smile. What can I say? Where did you want to go next?
Remind me, is your room by everyone else's room wing?
He laughs and says, oh, no. No, they moved me, actually. When they moved me in, I was in the far wing. He gestures to the opposite side of the house from where the other bedrooms are.
Mm-hmm. Is on the opposite end?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the master bedroom suite is in, say, the east wing.
Yeah.
His bedroom is in the west wing.
It's forbidden!
Oh, God.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
It's fine.
So...
You want to go back to my room? He raises an eyebrow. Scandalous. What will the servants think?
Soul starts to, push away from him. Well, you don't have to be so... Yeah.
I'm not the one that cast mirror image. Incredible tease, you.
Soul just covers their face. We don't have to go if you don't want to. It's fine.
He clasps his arms around you a little tighter and lifts you up off the ground and begins walking toward the west wing of the house.
He hauled me over his shoulder?
No. He's just lifting you
okay.
up in front of him. And he's just
Jesus.
sort of playfully walking that direction, leaving both of your clothes behind.
Jesus. Soul ain't gonna say shit. They're embarrassed. Eventually, they want to give Girl a little extra help, so they put their arms around his neck. They have some of their weight there then.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just all him.
Okay, and your legs are just hanging down straight?
Yep.
Okay. So he walks you across part of the house and takes you to the west wing, where he sort of kicks his own door open and walks you into his bedroom, suite, apartment area, which is honestly mostly sort of just an arcane study. It looks like he's got a lab set up in here with tables and alchemical supplies and different arcane runes and various, not necessarily altars, but generally just spellcrafting tables, basically.
So, I don't think Soul, after the fact, was very interested in even seeing Gro's room, so they probably actually haven't been in it.
Which that's part of the reason why he was so shocked. He even feigned shock.
They're still got themselves wrapped around his neck, but they're just looking around and analyzing every aspect of the room. Was it always like this in here?
He shrugs. Usually, yes. This is where I do most of my work and study. Sorry, it's not exactly the most romantic atmosphere.
And Soul kisses his cheek and just leans back to look at him. I don't think that's not something that is a big deal to me. It's fine. It's just you and me. That's what matters. Right?
He nods. Yes, that is what matters.
But Soul also looks very curious at everything because it's new and there's books and shit there. So now Soul's just like, ooh. They seem a little distracted.
Are you alright?
Yeah, it's just been a while since I've seen so many experiments. They just look so delighted.
Well, I mean, most of them are fairly mundane. I'm sure they would just be a bore to you.
Soul raises their eyebrows. How so?
Well, these are just not exactly the sorts of things that would be considered romantic, I guess. I mean, that one over there, he points to a table that has some various reagents on it, and lots of glass bottles with various colored liquids. That's actually where I'm making something for you, but it's not ready yet.
Soul looks fascinated and starts to just instinctively let themselves down from Gro's neck, but that's up to him.
Yeah, he sort of sets you down in the room, lets you
Soul instinctively just starts walking over towards it.
He kind of lets you patter around the room barefoot.
And you just hear this stupid laugh coming out of their mouth because their inquisitive mind is going crazy.
So what you see on the table is a lot of various colored liquids. Some of them are bubbling on their own. And in the middle of the table is a small metal stand with a small glass sphere on it.
Oh!
It's not ready. It's still sort of more in the testing phases.
Soul just looks back at him and just has this big smile, and they're just like, it's amazing already!
I mean, there's not even an image on it yet. It's just a glass sphere with...
Soul's just happy and jumps onto the bed and is just like, you're making me something.
That's the least I could do.
They have now started rolling back and forth. And they're slowly burritoing the blankets onto themselves. They eventually scrunch up and they look over at him. And they say, I'm an armadillo now.
He laughs and climbs into bed with you.
And so Soul has most of the blankets around them currently. And they're just kind of watching Grow as he gets into bed then.
Mm-hmm. And he's going to sort of get up next to you and sort of just watch you as you are sort of completely burritoed in all the covers.
It's just their head popped out, pretty much.
Feeling alright?
Yeah, why?
Wasn't sure if you were cold.
No, I'm an armadillo. I give people leprosy. Because if I know Soul, they'd spout some stupid knowledge thing that they're really proud of knowing.
Grow nods slowly and says, "That's very good."
They seem so pleased with themselves. After a while, they kind of slowly loosen the blankets to where now it's just draped over their shoulders.
Mm-hmm. Grow's going to get themselves under the blankets as well and snuggle up with you.
Mm.
So he kind of looks a little embarrassed. Sorry. So now that you don't have to hold your breath.
Oh. Soul just nods, kisses him on the cheek, and then...
And fade to black.
I'm sorry.
You did amazing.
Soul leans back on the bed, face up. That's good, because, had no idea what I was doing.
And I did all right before as well?
Yeah, I think you did.
Okay, you hesitated a little bit there.
Soul looks like they're debating on what to say. It's just new. All of this is really new. And I guess when I think of things, I'm never quite sure how I feel because I haven't had enough time to really think about what's happened. Does that make sense? If it doesn't,
I think I understand, yes.
Soul looks back.
Oh,
they kind of scratch their chin a little bit, and they look back, and they say, I haven't had time to recount the memories yet, I suppose would be a better phrasing.
He nods. Well, we have lots of time now, I suppose.
Soul kind of smiles and nods. Rolls over to snuggle into him.
He accepts the snuggle. Holds on to you as well. He's a bit spent, so he's probably on the verge of just falling asleep.
A-okay. Right before Soul goes to sleep, and they're not sure if Grow's asleep yet, they just kind of kiss him on the cheek, and then go back down and snuggle. And they fall asleep.
Time passes.
Does Grow's room have any windows?
It does have windows.
Right?
They face west, so they don't get the rising sun.
Oh no!
And you hear a knock at the
We
door.
left our clothing!
You hear a knock at the door.
No! Oh no!
Again, you're awoken by a knock at the door.
So, I think they're pretty out of it, because last time the sun woke them up, and I think that's normally how they've woken up a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
The past few days, at least, since we've just been camping. They just hear the noise, and then they just snuggle deeper into the blankets next to Grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing it still continues.
Yeah, Grow also wakes up. Did you open your eyes at all?
Mm-mm.
Okay. You hear Grow. Oh no.
Mm.
Wake up. Wake up.
Why?
There's a knocking at the door. Just stay here and be quiet, okay?
Mm.
He clumsily gets out of bed, sort of half tripping over you. And he walks to the door, and you hear hushed whispers as he's speaking to someone through the door.
Mm-hmm. And Soul starts to think about poking their head up, but then they're like, oh, he told me not to move. They're now just hearing whispering noises, though. They're slowly actually waking up. And so they start to listen.
It's inaudible from the distance you are from the door.
Really?
Yeah, you can't understand what they're saying.
Oh.
But a few seconds later, Grow comes back and he's like, well, you're going to have to make a decision.
What?
Are you going to reveal yourself to the household, or are you going to make an escape? I'm fine with whichever decision you make, but you need to make it soon.
Well, if I tell everyone I'm here, will they make me stay?
He kind of winces and he says, it's possible.
Soul looks kind of frustrated, like, I guess I gotta go.
Okay, well, that takes us to the bad news.
And Soul's gotten up and starts rubbing their eyes.
He sort of leans down and kisses your shoulder and looks at you and says, well, some servants. They found the clothes from last night.
Soul slowly looks up at him. We forgot the clothes.
He nods. So, I can't get those back for you. At least not yet. So, I can get you out of here right now. Or, like I said, if you wanted to come clean, then that would be a simple matter. If not, I can get you out of here right now.
And Soul looks down at themselves and is like, well, I need to put on something.
Don't really have anything that would fit you.
And Soul just puts their head in their hands.
This sort of became complicated, didn't it?
So there's really only one option.
What's that?
I can't just go back to my party butt-ass naked.
He shrugs.
Like, Soul's, like, starting to raise their voice a little.
He shrugs. He's like, well, I mean, maybe you can. I don't know. Do you have any other clothing there?
No! That's literally all I had!
Oh, jeez.
Soul's just like, oh my god.
Well, here. He grabs, like, robes, like a wizard robe. He says, it'll be big on you, but it'll work.
They look at it, and they look up at him, and it's like, and the rest?
Well, I don't... That's the whole thing.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know, pants or something.
It's a robe. It's a
Soul is panicking. They're not doing good.
It's a full-length garment.
Well, I have to move around from time to time. What are they gonna say when I come back with a robe? Like, what?
I don't know. I mean, judging from the sun, he kind of, like, points out there, and the fact that your party's to the east of you, they're probably already awake and moving by now.
Oh, God. Soul just kind of crumples a little. It's just like, Jesus. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Okay.
They look up at Grow and they kind of have teary eyes.
We just have to think about this, alright? We just have to think about this. I could pass off the clothes that were found that I was with someone else. That way you wouldn't have to...
Grow, they might kick you out.
It's possible, but it would protect your secret.
Yeah, but I'd rather them be mad at me than be mad at you.
You see tears appear in his eyes. What have I done to deserve someone as good as you?
And Soul kind of puts on the cloak and then says, so time to talk to everyone in the house, huh?
He kind of gives you a little half smile and he says, if that is your wish, master.
I'm gonna get you back for this one of these days.
He closes his eyes and just nods. I know you will.
Okay. And Soul just hangs their head and follows behind him, I guess.
He goes over to his closet and puts on another set of clothes that fit him. He walks to his door, and he looks to you, and he says, "Are you ready?"
I'll never be ready for this.
It's not too late. I can whisk you away from here. I promise.
Where would we go? I don't want you to get in trouble, Grow. No matter what you say, they're gonna look at that fabric and know it was me.
Well, I leave it up to you.
Oh. And how fast can you get me my clothes?
I mean, I can probably smuggle them back to you in a day.
Oh.
They might know it was you from the clothing. That will raise questions.
Let's just say we'll make an escape after we can? And Soul kind of bites their lip and looks up at him.
He raises an eyebrow. Oh?
Well, as long as I can get my clothes and get them on, we could just teleport away.
And how do you propose we get to your clothes?
Well, Soul kind of thinks, is there anyone outside the room currently?
He peeks through the keyhole of his door and says, I don't see anyone out there now.
Soul still has the cloak on. So, here we go. And Soul casts invisibility on themselves.
Okay.
Just
Girl
like,
sort of asks the room, am I going with you? I don't...
Yeah, you need to open the doors with me.
Okay. He walks to the door, he opens the door to his bedroom, and sort of like leaves it open for a few seconds before going through it himself.
And Soul's just quietly beelining it to that bathroom. They're kind of tiptoeing around to make sure if they do see servants, if they slow down and they wait.
Yeah, you do see some servants here and there. It's, by all accounts, it's mid-morning.
Yeah.
The household is up and moving. You make your way to the bathroom, and you find that the entire area has been cleaned.
The clothing is gone?
The clothing is gone. Gro's standing there.
Oh.
Damn it.
What do we do now? Where would they take it?
I'm not sure. Let's go to the servants' quarters.
Soul nods, but then realizes he can't see them. Okay. Follow behind him.
He heads to the servants' quarters, servants' wing, and he finds 4 or 5 of them sort of huddled around a table.
Mm-hmm.
And you can hear the low tones, but also high-pitched sound of gossip.
Yeah.
And you see 5 young servants sort of like standing around a table, and there's 2 sets of soggy clothes on the table.
Oh, God.
Bro walks up, and he kind of clears his throat, and all the servants like shut up and stop and like turn around and see him, and they all freak out.
Mm-hmm.
And he asks for the clothing back, and he would appreciate all of their silence about this matter in the future.
Mm-hmm.
They all kind of nod and bow to him a little bit, and end up like sort of abandoning the table so he can walk up and collect the articles.
Mm-hmm.
He bids them a good day and turns and leaves the room.
And Soul's right on his tail, pretty much.
By the time you get back to the room is right as the spell's ending.
Soul dives onto the bed and hides under the covers.
He gets inside and shuts the door, and he's like, ugh, that is going to be all over the entire estate in less than a day.
I'm so sorry.
Well, here's hoping they think that it was you, and I end up not getting kicked out of the house.
Blindfold, or the eye patch was with everything with the feather. I think they'd know.
He hands you your damp clothing.
Soul's just like, just looks at it. I guess it'll dry on the road.
He nods. Are you ready? I suppose you should get back with your people.
Let me just get dressed real quick. So they get everything on, and they kind of have the face of a drowned rat at this point. They don't look too enthused about soggy clothing.
I'm sorry this got a little complicated.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sorry, too. It's complicated for you.
He leans in and gives you a kiss.
And Soul goes over to one of his desks and grabs an empty piece of parchment and a quill.
Mm-hmm.
And they start to write their mother a letter.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
Be done in just a moment.
Of course.
They finish it up. They roll it up. They look around for wax, and then they're like, eh, and then they just kind of crease it in the middle. They literally just toss it on top of Grosbud. It's like, you can give that to her when you come back.
Very well.
And Soul goes up and hugs him around his neck.
He casts the spell, and you can feel the air whoosh around you and become somewhat brisk and cool compared to where you were.
Oh, it's even colder now that my clothes are soggy.
Your soggy clothes definitely bring your body temperature down quickly.
Soul just starts shivering immediately.
You appear at a small patch of woods, and you can see the carriage still parked next to the road.
Mm-hmm. They look at Gro.
I suppose this is where I bid you adieu.
I guess. And they shuffle their feet a little bit.
I wish you could stay, but I understand.
But I think that's usually how you feel about me the other way when we're at home.
He nods. Well, take care of yourself, alright?
Soul grabs cloth of his arm real quick.
You too?
He nods.
I
Don't
promise
worry.
I'll be calling soon.
I look forward to it. He leans down and gives you one long kiss.
And Soul leans back a bit after the kiss. And then stands up on their tippy toes and brings him back down to kiss them again. Then they let him go and just kind of take one backward step back and just kind of looks at him. We're gonna get in so much trouble.
He just kind of laughs at that. Yeah, but I imagine we'd better get in the habit of that, shouldn't we?
And Soul has the most mischievous grin.
Well, it's kind of what you signed up for when you proposed to me.
Alright, so with a big smile on his face, he holds his hands out in front of him and casts a teleport spell.
And Soul walks back to the group.
Alright, now with damp clothes in the mid-morning.
Yep.
Thanks for listening. As always, special thanks to Protagonist for the theme music, and Emily Roll for Fantasy for this episode's soundtrack. Please leave a like or subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and leave a comment if you have any suggestions. Until next time!